Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the only thing standing between you and the life you've always wanted is the moment you're about to quit? Inside each of us there is a constant struggle, a tug-of war between the person we are right now and the person we know deep down we were meant to become. It's not a fight that anyone else can see, but you feel it in the quiet moments when you stare at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering if you're living up to your potential, wondering if this is all there is. That voice inside you, the one that whispers, asterisk, you're capable of more, asterisk, is not lying to you. It's the truest part of who you are, and yet it's also the part we silence the quickest. The world tells you to settle, to be realistic, to keep your head down and follow the safe path. But there is nothing safe about ignoring your own calling. Every day you choose comfort over courage. You strengthen the version of you that plays small and weaken the one that was born to do something great. In this war, this internal battle, it's not fought once and for all. It's fought every single day. Every morning when you wake up, you decide whether you will move toward your dreams or away from them. Some days you win the fight, other days you lose, but the important thing is to keep showing up for the battle. Because every time you choose to take a step toward your potential, no matter how small, you tip the balance in favor of the person you're meant to be. That's why giving up is so dangerous. It's not just quitting on a goal, it's surrendering to the weaker side of yourself, the side that settles, the side that hides, the side that is afraid. And fear will always try to convince you that it's better to stay in your comfort zone, but fear is a liar. It tells you the risk is too high, the climb is too steep, and that you should be content where you are. But deep down, you know that contentment without growth is just slow decay. The person you're meant to be is not waiting for the perfect moment, they're waiting for you to choose them, to step into their shoes, to take ownership of the life you've been given. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, because transformation always is. Just like a muscle only grows under tension, your character only grows under challenge. That internal battle you feel is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's proof that something is still alive in you, something worth fighting for. The struggle is not the enemy, it is the process, the fire that forges you into someone stronger, braver, and more capable than you were yesterday. And while no one else can fight this war for you, know that every victory you win inside yourself eventually shows up in the outside world, in the way you walk, in the way you speak, and in the way you inspire others to fight for their own transformation. 2025 has been a year that has tested the resilience of even the strongest among us. The world feels louder than ever before, not just in sound but in chaos. Every scroll, every headline, every conversation seems to echo with division, uncertainty, and fear. It's as if the noise has seeped into the walls of our lives, making it hard to hear our own thoughts, let alone our own dreams. Politics have become a battlefield where truth is hard to find, and hope can seem like a rare and fragile thing. People are taking sides, drawing lines, and building walls between each other instead of bridges. And if you listen to the voices around you long enough, they will convince you that your voice doesn't matter, that your effort is too small to make any difference, that the system is too big, corrupt, too powerful to ever be challenged. But here's the truth no one tells you loudly enough. The system is only as strong as the spirit of the people who believe they are powerless. The real danger is not in the size of the obstacles we face, but in the size of the belief we carry about what's possible. Throughout history, moments of deep chaos have always been the breeding ground for transformation. And every transformation began when someone refused to let the noise around them drown out the voice within them. Yes, there are challenges that seem insurmountable, forces that seem unstoppable, and problems that feel unfixable. But no system, no institution, no power structure is stronger than a human spirit that has decided it will not bow. This is not just about politics. It's about your own life, your own future, your own freedom to choose the path you walk. If you let the noise tell you it's hopeless, you hand over the keys to your own destiny. If you allow the division to make you cynical, you give away your ability to create unity. And if you believe the system is too big to fight, you've already lost the battle before it began. The truth is, systems change when people change, when individuals make the choice to rise above the noise and act in alignment with their values. That's how movements are born, how revolutions are sparked, how history is rewritten. The challenges of this year are not here to destroy you, they are here to wake you up. They are here to remind you that your voice matters, your choices matter, your actions matter. And in a time when so many are falling silent, the greatest rebellion you can offer is to keep speaking, to keep believing, to keep fighting for the world you know is possible, even when the world around you says it's not worth the effort in this life. There are really only two kinds of people: those who collapse when the storm rolls in, and those who learn to move with the wind, to adapt. Dance in the rain, the storm comes for all of us. It doesn't care about your plans, your comfort, or your timing. It doesn't ask for permission before it turns your world upside down. Some people see the clouds forming and immediately run for cover, hoping the storm will pass so they can resume life exactly where they left off. But storms don't just pass, they change the landscape, they alter the terrain. And if you spend your life waiting for perfect skies before you take a step forward, you will spend your life standing still. The other kind of person looks at the storm differently. They know the rain will fall whether they like it or not, so instead of hiding, they step out into it. They learn to work with it, to find rhythm in the chaos, to see opportunity where others see only danger. It's not that these people don't feel fear, they do. It's that they don't let fear dictate their choices. They understand that discomfort is not the enemy, stagnation is. They adapt, and in adapting, they grow. Every storm carries with it a lesson, a test, a chance to discover what you're truly made of. When the winds knock you off balance, you learn to stand stronger. When the rain soaks through your clothes and chills you to the bone, you learn endurance. And when the lightning flashes and illuminates the darkness for just a second, you see the path forward that you couldn't see before. The people who dance in the rain don't have fewer problems than the ones who hide. They simply choose not to wait for the storm to end before they live their lives. They understand that life will never hand them a perfect moment wrapped neatly in a bow. If they want joy, if they want success, if they want fulfillment, they have to be willing to create it in the middle of the mess. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you've learned to dance in one storm, the next one doesn't scare you as much. You realize that you've faced the worst and you're still standing. You realize that the rain doesn't last forever, but neither does the sunshine, and that's why you can't wait for either to begin. You have to live now. You have to keep moving forward, whether the ground is dry or slippery, whether the air is calm or the wind is howling. Because life is not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to move through it without losing yourself, without losing your hope, and without letting the darkness convince you to stop. Moving altoge. Their change has never been born from comfort. It has never come from those who waited for the perfect timing, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect circumstances. Every moment in history that shifted the course of humanity began with individuals who looked at the odds stacked against them and decided to move forward anyway. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for the noise to quiet down. They didn't wait for everyone to agree. They acted, and action, more than talent, more than resources, more than luck, is the fuel that drives transformation. Fear will try to convince you that you're not ready, that you need to prepare more, that you need to wait until things settle down. But fear's real mission is to keep you from taking the very step that could change everything. The people who make history are not the ones who felt no fear, they are the ones who acted despite it. Opposition will always be there, doubt will always whisper, obstacles will always stand in the way. But the question is not whether they exist, the question is whether you will keep moving anyway. The truth is, action creates momentum, and momentum is what breaks through barriers that once looked unshakable. You might not see the full staircase, but taking that first step puts you in motion, and once you're in motion, new paths appear, new allies show up, new opportunities reveal themselves. The most dangerous thing you can do is nothing, because nothing guarantees that the world stays exactly as it is. If the people you admire in history had chosen to wait until conditions were perfect, we would still be living in the shadows of injustice, ignorance, and fear. Every right you enjoy, every freedom you have, every advancement you benefit from exists because someone chose to stand up when it was inconvenient, risky, and even dangerous. And it wasn't just the grand gestures, the speeches, the protests, the breakthroughs. It was the small, consistent actions that built the foundation for change. Writing one letter, making one phone call, refusing to stay silent one more time. Action compounds, and every choice you make to move forward, no matter how small, adds weight to the side of progress. You cannot control the size of the waves, but you can control whether or not you set sail. Waiting for calm seas might keep you safe in the harbor, but ships weren't built to stay docked. You were meant to move, to create, to push forward into uncharted waters, even when the storm clouds gather. Because the moment you take action, you shift from being a bystander in your own life to being the author of it, and that single shift changes everything that follows your dream. Is not just some optional hobby you can set aside when life gets inconvenient. It is not a luxury reserved for when you have extra time, extra energy, or extra money. Your dream is a responsibility, a duty to yourself and to the world around you. It exists for a reason, and that reason is not random. Somewhere, someone needs the very thing you have been called to create, to build, to share, or to lead. When you give up on it, you are not just letting yourself down. You are taking away the impact you were meant to have on others. Think about the songs that were never written because someone doubted their talent. Think about the businesses that were never started because someone feared failure. Think about the inventions that could have changed lives, but never left the drawing board because the creator decided it was too hard. Every time someone quits, the world loses something it will never get back. Your dream is bigger than you, and that is exactly why it matters. It is not just about achieving a personal goal or crossing something off your list. It is about living in alignment with your purpose. And purpose is not negotiable. It is the compass that points you toward the life you were made for. Without it, you wander aimlessly, feeling that constant sense of something is missing. No matter what you achieve, people often think they are being selfless when they set their dreams aside to focus only on others. But the truth is, when you silence your calling, you rob those very people of the inspiration and change you were meant to bring. The version of you that plays small cannot serve the world in the same way as the version of you that lives fully, boldly, and unapologetically in pursuit of what matters. And yes, pursuing your dream will cost you. It will cost you comfort, security, and the approval of some people. But not pursuing it will cost you something far greater, your sense of meaning. You can build a safe life, but safety without purpose will feel hollow. You can earn the respect of others, but if you don't respect yourself for following your calling, it will never be enough. The truth is, the people who leave the biggest marks on this world are those who take their dreams seriously enough to fight for them every day, even when they feel tired, even when they feel discouraged, even when it seems impossible, because they understand that their dream is a trust, a sacred assignment, and they are not willing to abandon it just because the road is hard. And when they finally reach it, when they see the lives touched, the minds changed, the doors opened, they realize that every sacrifice was worth it, not just for themselves, but for everyone there. Dream was meant to serve. Every great achievement you see in the world today began as something small, something fragile, something easy to overlook. Revolutions didn't start with millions of people in the streets. They began with a single voice saying, "Enough." Breakthroughs in science, technology, and art didn't arrive fully formed. They began as a single thought scribbled in a notebook, a half-formed idea spoken aloud to a friend, a quiet experiment in the corner of a room. The problem is that most people dismiss small beginnings because they don't look powerful enough to change anything. They want the end result now, the grand moment, the big stage, the worldwide impact, without realizing that every giant oak tree was once a tiny seed buried in darkness. The people who change the world are the ones who understand the value of starting, no matter how small that start may seem. They don't wait for the resources to be perfect or the timing to be flawless. They take what they have and make something out of it. And here's the truth. When you take consistent small actions, you create a ripple effect. One step leads to another. One conversation opens a door. One act of courage inspires another person to take their own step. Over time, those ripples gather force until they become waves capable of reshaping the shoreline. But you'll never see that wave if you refuse to take the first small step, because it feels insignificant. Every leader you admire once stood where you are now, holding nothing more than an idea and a willingness to act. They faced the same doubts, the same fears, the same voices telling them it was pointless. The difference is they acted anyway. And as they acted, their confidence grew, their influence expanded, and their vision became clearer. It's easy to underestimate the power of beginnings because they don't carry the glamour of the end result. But beginnings are where all the magic is. It's in that first attempt, that first commitment, that first declaration of, "I will do this," that your future begins to take shape. You don't need to know every detail of how the journey will unfold. You just need to take the next step in front of you. Small beginnings teach you resilience because you learn to grow without applause. They teach you patience because you realize that real change takes time. And they teach you humility because you understand that you are building something bigger than yourself. So never look down on the seed in your hand because inside it is the potential for a forest. Never dismiss the single action you can take today because it could be the spark that ignites a movement. And never forget that the size of your start does not determine the size of your finish. Your commitment dose time is not waiting for you to be ready. Every second that passes is a second you cannot get back, and the choice of what to do with it is yours alone. We live in a world where it is easy to become a silent bystander, to watch events unfold as if life were a show and we are only the audience. But the truth is, You are not meant to sit in the stands, you are meant to be on the field. The world doesn't change when people stay silent. It changes when they speak up, stand up, and step forward even when it's uncomfortable. Too many people are waiting for someday to start living their purpose, but someday is not on the calendar. The urgency is now because there is no guarantee that you will get another chance. The opportunities in front of you today may not be there tomorrow. The causes that need your voice may not wait for your convenience. The people who need your courage may not be able to hold on while you hesitate. The world is shaped by those who act in the moment, not those who promise they will act later. And acting doesn't always mean making a grand gesture. It can mean showing up when it's hard, speaking the truth when it's risky, making a decision when it's uncomfortable. It can mean choosing to live in alignment with your values instead of drifting with the current of whatever is easiest. Every time you choose to stand, you send a signal to yourself and to others that your voice matters. And when you do it consistently, you inspire others to do the same. Movements grow because someone had the courage to move first. Change spreads because one person took a stand and refused to move back. You may think your actions are too small to make a difference, but the difference between silence and speaking up is the difference between nothing changing and something changing. And sometimes the smallest action can create the largest ripple. If you wait until you feel completely ready, you will never begin. Readiness is a myth. It's built through action, not before it. The moment you step forward, you become ready, and the moment you stand up, you realize you always had more strength than you thought. You cannot control how others will react. You cannot control the entire outcome, but you can control whether you will stay silent or make your presence felt. History remembers the people who showed up when it mattered, not the ones who stayed quiet because they were afraid of making a mistake. So when the world needs a voice, let it be yours. When the world needs action, let it be yours. And when the world needs proof that courage still exists, let your life be the evidence giving up is the only true way to lose. You can stumble, you can fail, you can take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, but as long as you keep getting up, the story is still being written. Life is not a straight line from where you are to where you want to be. It is a winding road with detours, dead ends, and stretches that seem endless. The people who succeed are not the ones who never faced setbacks. They are the ones who refuse to let setbacks define them. Quitting is final. It closes the door, turns out the light, and locks away the possibilities that might have been. You will never know how close you were to a breakthrough if you stop digging. You will never know how much more you could grow if you stop trying. The moment you give up, you hand your future over to the version of you that chose comfort over courage. And the truth is, the pain of perseverance is always temporary, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. The dream you're chasing may take longer than you thought. It may cost more than you expected. It may demand more strength than you believed you had. But it is worth every step if it means living a life true to who you are. Every person you admire for their achievements has a story filled with obstacles, moments when walking away would have been easier, moments when they doubted themselves completely. What separates them from those who never made it is that they kept going anyway. Persistence builds character, resilience, and a deep inner strength that cannot be taken from you. Every time you choose to keep going when things get hard, you are building a muscle that will serve you for the rest of your life. Even when you fail, you gain experience, lessons, and perspective that make you better prepared for the next step. But when you quit, you gain nothing except the certainty that you will never know what could have been. The path you are on may test you. It may push you to your limits. It may make you question why you started in the first place. But if you hold on, if you keep showing up, if you take one more step when your mind is screaming to stop, you will eventually reach a place where the struggle turns into strength, where the setbacks turn into stepping stones, and where the journey reveals that it was shaping you all along. The only way to lose for good is to stop moving, and as long as you keep moving, even slowly, even imperfectly, you are still in the game, still in the fight, and still capable of reaching the destination you once thought was impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, before you walk away from your dream, before you silence that fire inside you, you need to hear this, because the moment you're about to quit is often the moment you're closest to victory.